Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're tackling something, well, fundamental to success, really, whether you're leading a team or just, getting through your day. We're diving deep into people skills, and specifically why Winston Trim, in his book, People Skills for Business, argues they aren't just the soft stuff.
Right, not at all.
He says they're the hard bedrock of real achievement, impacting everything from, your bottom line to just personal satisfaction.
Exactly. And we've got Trim's insights here as our launch pad today. Our goal is to really pull out the practical wisdom. How do you develop these crucial human abilities?
Yeah.
Think of this deep dive as your, let's say, accelerated path to understanding why mastering these skills is more vital than ever.
Okay.
And crucially, how you can start using them right away to elevate both your work and, your personal life too.
Okay. So Trim kicks things off with what he calls the Trinity of Trust. That's character and trustworthiness.
Foundational stuff.
Now, you might be listening and thinking, character? Really? What's that got to do with the cut and thrust of modern business?
Yeah, that sounds a bit old-fashioned, maybe.
Right. But Trim makes a really compelling case that this is the very foundation, especially now in this hyper-connected world. Reputations are built.
And shattered. Instantly.
Yes, exactly.
What's interesting about Trim's take here is this idea of character being your internal compass.
Who you are when no one's watching.
Precisely. It's that integrity guiding your ethical choices, even when, maybe there's a temptation for a quick win.
Right.
And then growing out of that inner core is trustworthiness, which isn't passive, right? You have to actively cultivate it.
Also,
by consistently doing what you say you'll do, by being transparent, by, crucially, owning up when things go wrong. It's building that verifiable history, reliability.
he shares a story, doesn't he, about an entrepreneur, Barry.
Yeah, Barry, vivid example, super sharp guy, loads of ideas, but maybe a bit flexible with the truth, let's say. And Trim points out, while Barry had some initial sparks, some early success.
It didn't last.
Exactly. He couldn't build anything solid because people just didn't trust him. Suppliers got wary, investors pulled back, good people left.
That Barry story really highlights it then. In the long game, a lack of trust is just incredibly costly.
Massive cost. And Trim contrasts Barry with someone else, maybe less flashy, but with unwavering integrity.
And that person
Steadily builds a strong network. Opportunities kind of naturally flow their way because people see them as dependable, a safe bet.
It makes sense. In a world with so much noise and so many claims, trust acts like a filter.
A critical filter, yeah. If you're trustworthy, you sort of bypass a lot of skepticism. Decisions happen faster. It's the ultimate social proof.
Right. Trim actually calls trustworthiness a superpower in business.
It is. It lays the groundwork for strong partnerships, makes investors more willing to jump in.
And keeps your best people around.
Absolutely. Essential for retaining talent.
So the practical question then, how do we actually develop this superpower?
That's the key, isn't it? And Trim gives some concrete steps. First, be impeccable with your word. Your yes means yes. Your no means no. Follow through.
Okay.
Second, when you mess up, because we all do own it, sincerely apologize. Actively fix it.
No excuses.
Right. Third, operate with openness. Transparency, even when it's uncomfortable.
That can be hard.
It can. And maybe, most importantly, consistently show through your actions that your values aren't just words on a wall. They actually guide how you operate, day in, day out.
Okay, so building on trust, Trim then shifts to the eloquence of engagement, communication.
Yeah, and his point is it's way more than just speaking clearly.
It's about connection.
Connection, understanding, influence. Forget those, jargon-filled slide decks.
We've all sat through those.
Haven't we just? It's about conveying your vision with clarity, yes, but also with real passion.
So what are the key skills here according to Trim?
He breaks it down into 4 main areas. First, active listening, which he rightly says is massively underrated.
Meaning just paying attention.
More than that, it's full focus, asking good questions to really get it, and then reflecting back what you heard to confirm. So if I understand correctly, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the impact, it makes people feel genuinely heard, valued. That lowers defenses, builds rapport. It's huge. Taps into that basic human need for connection.
Absolutely. Then there's empathy.
Right. Stepping into someone else's shoes. Your customer, your employee, your investor.
Why is that important?
Because it helps you craft messages that actually land, develop solutions that meet real needs. It's not manipulation. Trim's clear on that. It's insightful connection.
Got it. What's next?
Clarity and conciseness. cutting through the jargon.
Oh, definitely needed.
In this information overload age. Massive advantage. Trim uses a great analogy. Can you explain what you do to someone totally outside your field? Like your neighbor. If yes, you're probably on the right track.
That's a good test.
And the fourth one?
Nonverbal cues, body language, tone, eye contact.
The unspoken stuff. Yeah, and often it speaks louder than words, right? Conveying confidence, building that immediate rapport. Think a firm handshake, open posture, looking people in the eye, signals engagement, sincerity.
And Trim ties this all into storytelling, doesn't he?
He does. Says we're basically wired for narratives. Compelling stories about your company's origins, a product's journey, a customer's success they engage and persuade on a much deeper level.
Like entrepreneurs on those pitch shows?
Exactly. Their success often hangs on selling the vision, the passion, connecting emotionally through a good story. It builds what Trim calls relational capital.
Relational capital. Explain that.
Think of it like the goodwill and trust you build up over time through all these positive interactions, an invisible bank account for your relationships.
Okay.
The more you invest through good communication, the more you can draw on later when you need support, collaboration, maybe just some understanding.
So the big takeaway, genuine communication builds this relational capital. It's about the long game, nurturing connections.
Precisely, not just transactions.
What's the actionable advice here from Trim? How do we get better at this?
He suggests consciously practicing active listening, really focus in your next conversation. Actively try to cultivate empathy. Ask yourself, what's it like from their perspective?
Okay.
Make a real effort to simplify complex ideas. Find the core benefit and pay attention to your own nonverbals. Maybe even ask for feedback.
Good advice. Okay, moving on. Trim then gets into the alignment imperative.
Yeah, this is about making sure your personal values line up with what you're doing professionally and who you're doing it with.
And he says this isn't just like a nice to have.
No, he frames it as a strategic advantage. Definitely not just sentimental.
Also,
He uses this great analogy, operating out of sync with your core values. It's like driving with the parking brake on.
okay.
You might move forward, sure, but there's constant friction. It leads to burnout, internal conflict, even if the money looks good on the surface.
So values are like your guide.
Your North Star, as he puts it, guiding big decisions and also naturally attracting people, employees, partners, customers who resonate with that same direction.
He contrasts examples, right?
He does. An entrepreneur compromising, say, environmental values for a profitable but shady deal versus someone else who thrives by making sure innovation, customer focus, and ethics all pull together.
And the benefits of that alignment.
Big ones. Your work feels more like purpose, not just a job. You attract really dedicated people. You build an authentic brand that people trust.
Makes sense. So how do we achieve this alignment? What does Trim suggest?
Practical steps again. First, know thyself and thy values. Really simple, but crucial. Take the time to actually reflect. What are your foundational principles? Integrity, innovation, community. Write them down. Get clear.
Okay, know your values, then what?
Then filter your pursuits. Use those defined values as a litmus test. Does this opportunity, this decision align if something feels off?
Trust your gut.
Trust that feeling. It's often your values signaling a mismatch.
And the third part.
Choose your partners wisely. Look for collaborators, business partners, investors, key hires who share or at least deeply respect your core values.
He warns against purely financial partnerships.
Yeah, he cautions that partnerships driven only by money, especially if there's a big values gap, can be really unstable down the road. Shared moral compass matters.
So the core message here is build something meaningful, something sustainable. That requires being rooted in your values and teaming up with aligned people.
Exactly. Authenticity is magnetic, Trim argues.
Right. Now, Trim shifts the focus inward. He talks about the inner architect.
This is about confidence in yourself and conviction in your principles.
And these amplify the external skills we've been talking about.
That's his point. They act as multipliers.
And he's careful about defining confidence, isn't he? It's not arrogance.
Not at all. True confidence, for Trim, is that inner knowing of your capabilities, your strengths, your worth. It helps you navigate the inevitable challenges, the rejections.
Which are common in business.
Especially in entrepreneurship, confidence helps you see setbacks as learning opportunities, not personal failures.
And conviction.
That's the unwavering belief in your ethical, your foundational principles. It leads to clearer decisions, more impactful communication. You know where you stand.
He gives an example, right? A negotiator.
Yeah, a confident negotiator with strong principles. They negotiate from a position of strength, but they're also willing to walk away if a deal compromises their core values. That's powerful.
So how do we build this inner architect? What are Trim's suggestions for boosting confidence and conviction?
Well, first, master your craft. Continuous learning, striving for excellence that builds competence, which fuels confidence.
Makes sense.
Also, celebrate the small wins. Acknowledge your progress. It builds momentum.
Important. What else?
Embrace failure as feedback. Reframe it. What did I learn? How can I adjust? Don't let it define you.
Easier said than done sometimes.
True. He also says, define your principles clearly. Write them down. They become anchors when things get uncertain.
And finally,
practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. Acknowledge it's a journey, a process of growth. You won't get it right all the time.
so the takeaway is this inner confidence, this conviction, they project trustworthiness. They attract belief in you and your ideas.
Exactly. As Trim says, people buy into who you are as much as what you're selling.
Okay, next up, the alchemy of affirmation. The power of language.
Yeah, this is fascinating. Trim explores how our words, both the internal chatter, our self-talk, and what we say out loud, shape our perception, our motivation.
Our actions, ultimately.
Right. He explains how negative self-talk can genuinely become a self-fulfilling prophecy. It can actually, program your subconscious for failure, create mental roadblocks.
He contrasts different reactions to setbacks, doesn't he?
He does. An entrepreneur facing a challenge who spirals into, I can't do this, this always happens, versus one who consciously frames it differently. Okay, what's the opportunity here? How can we solve this?
Same situation, potentially very different outcome.
Dramatically different. Trim highlights the ripple effect of words. On your mindset, sure, but also your energy, your actions, even how others see you and react to you. Positive language is, well, energizing.
So how do we harness this linguistic alchemy, as he calls it? What are the practical steps?
First, become aware of that inner critic. Listen to your self-talk, and then actively challenge the negative stuff. Is it really true?
Okay, awareness first.
Then, consciously reframe challenges. Problem becomes opportunity. Impossible becomes, how can I make this possible? Shift the framing.
What about affirmations?
He mentions using them wisely. Not just empty phrases, but consistent, genuinely believed statements aligned with your desired future and your core values. Things like, I am capable of overcoming this challenge, or I attract positive collaborations.
Got it. Anything else?
Speak with intention. Choose words to inspire, motivate, focus on solutions, not just problems, and focus your language on what you want, not just what you don't want. Move towards aspirations.
The core idea is powerful. Words aren't just describing reality, they're helping create it.
Exactly. Be intentional about the seeds you're planting with your language, both internal and external.
Okay, finally, Trim brings us to the heart of the matter. Compassion and caring in business.
Yeah, and he tackles this head on. He knows it might sound soft, counterintuitive in a competitive world.
The dog-eat-dog view.
Right. He challenges that directly. He argues that the businesses that truly last, the ones with real staying power, often understand the power of genuine care.
For who?
For people. Customers, employees, partners, everyone involved. And he's clear, this isn't about being a doormat or sacrificing profit.
It's about recognizing the human element.
Exactly. Recognizing our shared humanity within the business context.
And he calls compassion a $1 million skill. Why?
He lays out several compelling reasons. Customer loyalty people stick with businesses they feel genuinely care about them.
Makes sense.
Employee engagement and retention, feeling valued, makes people more motivated, less likely to leave. Stronger partnerships, genuine care fosters trust and innovation.
Empathy driving innovation, too.
Yes, understanding real human needs leads to better products and services. Plus, think about reputation and brand building. Ethical, caring conduct is a huge asset.
And personal fulfillment.
Absolutely. It provides purpose beyond just the numbers. Trim even points to impactful entrepreneurs who build movements rooted in caring about the human condition. His conclusion: compassion isn't soft, it's smart, and increasingly valuable.
Especially maybe in a tech-heavy world.
Precisely. That human touch becomes even more important.
So Trim leaves us with some self-reflection questions.
He does. Are you genuinely caring for your stakeholders? Are you creating a valued work environment? Are you contributing positively to your community?
His point being that weaving compassion into the DNA of your business
isn't just ethical, it's foundational for building a lasting, impactful legacy.
So wrapping up this deep dive then, we've covered Trim's framework. trust from character,
effective communication, alignment with values,
inner confidence and conviction, the power of language.
and finally, the strength of compassion.
And the central message from Trim seems crystal clear.
Yeah.
People skills are not optional extras.
No, they're indispensable strategic assets, especially as automation increases. These distinctly human attributes, empathy, connection, trust, AI, can't replicate those.
So the call to action for you listening.
Take some time. Honestly reflect on your own people skills. Where are you strong? Where could you, intentionally focus some development?
Because these skills can be learned.
Absolutely. They can be cultivated, practiced, strategically deployed. Trim makes a powerful case they're a major competitive advantage.
Leading to financial success and personal fulfillment.
Both.
Okay, and finally, a provocative thought to leave you with. Building on Trim's ideas.
Yeah.
True success. Maybe it isn't just measured in profit margins. Maybe it's also about the lives touched, the problem solved, the relationships built, the legacy created. And in that bigger equation, people skills aren't just a factor. They're potentially an exponential multiplier.
That's a great way to put it.
So the encouragement is, go build. Build with character, build with conviction, and as Trim emphasizes, build with compassion.